Welcome to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about homesteading stuff and life stuff and everything in between. Join me, Amy Dingman, as we explore big questions on a little farm. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about life and how to live a good one. Today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025, and this is episode 310. Today, we are talking about the problem of being the one who does everything, being the person who takes care of everything, and how that might seem really helpful, but if something happens to you, others are left struggling to figure things out, right? Another thing that happens if you are the person who does everything is that you can almost create a sort of unintentional distance between you and other people, because other people might feel like they're being left in the dark if you're the person who's doing everything. And this topic stems from a few different things that have been going on lately, but it definitely came to the forefront of reality with the very unexpected passing of my father-in-law at the beginning of March. And that also explains why this is the first podcast episode that I have recorded this month. Things have been chaos here and sadness here, and it's been very weird to try to get back to some kind of normal, which really doesn't feel normal at all, but that's what we're trying to do. So before we get to the main topic, what else has been happening here at the Lifestead? Well, it has been very busy here as the farm is kind of waking up for spring, and we were really glad to have some of that busyness as a sort of distraction or something to pour our energy into in the midst of my father-in-law's death. You know, people mourn things in all sorts of different ways, and some people mourn by staying busy, and that is absolutely my husband and I. So the farm really has been such a blessing during all this. So what have we been busy with? Well, we have been collecting sap. We tapped 3 of our big maple trees in our front yard. We put 2 taps in each of the 3 giant trees. And man, we have been collecting all the sap. This is our first year we've been doing it, so I didn't know how much we were going to get. And as of right now, when I am recording, which is a little earlier than you're going to hear this, I think we're at 35 gallons of sap, you guys. I didn't think we were going to get anywhere near that. So this has been exciting and awesome, and it's been a big punting experience, a big learning experience. So we will be starting to boil down here real soon, probably even before you hear this podcast episode. But another thing that we had to do, we decided to make a barrel stove to help us with the boil down of the sap. And so that was a cool project that we took on. It was my husband's idea. Basically, you know, you take a 55-gallon drum, you know, we have 1 million of those here at the farm, and there's a kit that you can buy on Amazon, which is a door and some feet and a damper, and you cut that all into the barrel and you add a smokestack, and it's great. So we've tested it out, and it's just the coolest dang thing. I was like, this is the coolest thing we have built today. So it was super fun to take that project on. What else have we been doing? Oh, I got the rabbits bred again. Hopefully we'll be seeing some little baby rabbits around April 11th. I remembered to write it on the calendar this time, you guys, so we don't have any crazy surprises. So hopefully that goes well. I've also been collecting a lot of eggs for incubating. I've been hearing that it is crazy at the should we call them the big box farm stores? I don't know. Just about the only place you can get chicks right now, if you can even get any. I've been hearing that people say that, you know, the chicks are delivered on whatever day to whatever your big farm store is, whether it's Tractor Supply or Runnings or whatever it is. And there are people lining up outside the door, and like the lines are going around the building, people waiting to get these chicks and to have a chance to, you know, buy a few chicks. And that's just so crazy to me. I also heard someone was telling me that at a local sale barn, roosters were going for like $50 a piece. $50 a piece, y'all. There used to be a time when you couldn't get rid of an extra rooster. Like, you couldn't give it away, right? And now they're like selling them because people, you know, have figured out that if you have a rooster with your hens, you have the ability to make some baby chicks. And so now they've kind of become this really important thing. Don't tell the roosters that, y'all. I have this rooster who is so sassy. And now he knows. He's like, you can't get rid of me now. you just have to put up with me, because what happens if you get rid of me? You're not going to have any baby chicks. And it's not like you can just call someone now and say, hey, do you have an extra rooster? Because apparently people now are making money off of selling their extra roosters. What a crazy world we live in. What a crazy time this is, right? In any event, I am collecting eggs for incubating. I have some friends who want to try and hatch some out. I also am going to hatch out a bunch, because there ain't no way I'm getting any from the store this year, I guess. That's fine. We shall carry on, right? All right. With that, let's head over to the main topic and talk about what happens when you're the one who does everything and why that's not a good idea. So let's talk about what happens when you do everything. And I don't just mean you're busy. I mean, you're the one who is keeping the wheels turning, right? You're the one who remembers the bills. You're the one who does the chores. You're the one who runs the errands. You're the one who makes the calls, and keeps the kids alive, the animals fed, the house functional, the schedule flowing, all of it, right? You're doing all of it. Now, maybe you like being that person, and maybe you're really good at it. I like being that person. I think I'm pretty good at it. I don't screw it up too much. But I like to do it. I like to, be in charge of all that stuff. But what happens when that person who's been taking care of all the things suddenly isn't there? Now, obviously, this topic landed on my heart pretty fiercely, because my father-in-law passed away very unexpectedly. And in the middle of that loss, we all realized something. He was the one who took care of quite a few things, like the bills and the accounts, the paperwork, passwords, all that stuff. My mother-in-law wasn't dealing with any of that, right? And not because she wasn't smart, not because she couldn't, but it was just because he had always handled it. That was his thing. He took care of it. And that really hit me, because you know what? In my house, that person is me. I'm the one who pays the bills. I'm the one who handles the money. I'm the one who runs the household stuff. I'm the one who keeps track of the farm animals. I'm the one who takes care of all that stuff. And that's not to say that my husband doesn't do anything. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying the day-to-day of keeping the house running, and just like all that stuff you've got in your head, like this needs to be done, we got to do that, and this bill needs to be paid, and all that, that's me, because I'm home, because that's what I'm doing, right? And if something happened to me, my husband would not even know what accounts we use. He would not know what kind of feed the pigs get. He would not know how much to feed the animals. He would not know which animals are pregnant. He wouldn't know how old he wouldn't know any of that, because that's not his thing, right? I take care of that. So today we're going to dive into this. What happens when you're the one who does everything, quote unquote, everything, and why that might not be as helpful as you think it is. Because you think you're being helpful, right? And in the moment, you are. It's efficient, it's controlled, it's taken care of. It's easier to just do it yourself. But here's what happens when you're not there. Maybe you get sick. Maybe you get hurt. Maybe you have a severe injury. Maybe you have to leave town in some kind of emergency. Maybe, like in my father-in-law's case, you pass away very unexpectedly. And suddenly, people are scrambling. And not only to grieve, but also to figure out the 500 unseen things that you always just handled. I think about the farm, for example. I do the chores. Like I said before, I know which animals are pregnant or hopefully pregnant. I know what feed everyone gets. I know when they get fed. I know why they get the feed they get. I know, if they needed medication, I would know that. I would know which pens need to be cleaned. I know, the different waters. I know all the stuff for the barn, right? That's my thing. That's what I do here. And if I disappeared tomorrow, my family would be staring at a pile of buckets and some feed bags and going, huh. Now, would they figure it out? Yeah, they'd figure it out. But they'd have to figure it out. That's the point. They don't know. They would have to take the time to figure it out. The same goes for jobs. My husband at work, he is in charge of a lot of the trainings. Does a lot of oversight at work. And if he's gone, people are kind of stuck because they didn't realize how many things he was kind of holding together, how many things he was in charge of. And then when he's not there, well, oh crap, what do we do now? How do we, what's the email for that person that we need to get a hold of? What's a different option of what we can do here? Like, nobody knows because he's always just taking care of that stuff. And maybe that's you at your job. Maybe that's you at your house. And that's the key. We don't realize how much one person is juggling until they're not juggling it anymore because they're gone. So I guess the next layer of this conversation is, how many balls are you actually juggling? How many balls do you have up in the air? How many plates are you trying to balance up there? And does anyone even know that you are juggling all those balls or balancing all those plates? Does anybody even know? Because when something happens to you, every ball you were juggling just hits the ground. And the problem isn't just that you dropped them. It's that no one even knew how many you had in the air to begin with. Think of the parent who keeps all the schedules and the appointments and the meal plans and the school forms and the birthday parties and the vet visits and car maintenance. It's all floating around in their brain, right? The moment they go down, the house is lost in a fog. Or it's kind of like the business owner who runs everything solo. It's just them. It's me, myself, and I, running this little business here, the bookkeeping, the social media, the inventory, whatever it is that you're doing. When that solo business owner gets sick, the whole thing stalls because there's nobody to help and nobody else even knows what happens behind the scenes. Like, everything just stops. If you're the one who's doing all the juggling, right? If you're juggling that much, hello, rock star. But here's the thing. It might be time to start writing things down or sharing logins with a trusted person or teaching people how you do what you do. Because if you're the only one who knows how to do what you do, that's not sustainable. Not forever. That's the reality of it. Other people are going to eventually have to take over what you are doing. That is the reality of it. Here's another thing that I don't think we talk about enough. Sometimes when you're the person who just handles it or you're the person who just does everything, you can sometimes end up pushing people away. This is another thing I was thinking about. And you don't mean to, but when you are someone who just takes charge of everything, other people start to assume that you want it that way. You want to be in charge. And then they back off. And then you're stuck doing it alone. And sometimes what will happen is that you even will start resenting that nobody's helping you. And oh my gosh, I have to do everything myself and nobody's helping me. But no one knows how to help you because you never let them try. I've seen this play out so many times in families, so many times in offices, this happens, right? There may be a family member who just takes over when something happens. There's a situation that happens and there's a family member that just takes over. They're just taking control of everything. They want to get everything done. They're making all the arrangements. They're doing all the things. And the other people in the family are like, what? And they kind of feel completely out of the loop. Or like, what's going on? Okay, where are we? And it wasn't meant to be a power move by the person who is trying to do everything, but it might have felt like one. The same thing can happen in a marriage. It can happen on a farm. It can happen in a business. It can happen anywhere where someone feels like they've been cut out or they don't belong in the process. So yeah, doing it all yourself might be faster. Just taking care of things might be faster and it might be cleaner. But in the long run, it can leave the people around you feeling isolated or confused or incapable because you never explained how to do it. You never asked for help. So here's kind of the takeaway. If you are the one who is keeping things running, you've got stuff you are in charge of, like that's your thing, make a plan, write it down, share it with someone, teach your kids, walk your spouse through it. Do not wait until there's a crisis to try and teach people how to survive without you. And if you're the other person who's maybe not involved in something, maybe you're not involved in the finances or the chores or the planning or the whatever, ask. Take notice. Pay attention. Because if your partner disappeared tomorrow, what would you be left in the dark about? You might not even know. Like if you've been together for a long time and you've just got a system and it works, and like one of you takes care of all this stuff and one of you takes care of all this stuff, and it's just like it works, you might not even think about all the stuff that your partner is taking care of, especially if you've been doing this a long time, right? Because it's just your normal and it's what it is. It's funny, I had to finish up some stuff on the barrel stove when my husband had gone back to work, and it was just very easy, like just take the wire brush or the wire wheel brush, I don't even know what the tool is called, and, grind off this paint that we had got off of there, and then, take some paint thinner and wipe it on there, and then let it dry a little bit, and then paint it, because we don't want this stove to rust, obviously, right? I'm telling you, that sounds so easy, right? And I'm doing it, and my husband's not here, and I think of all the things that he just takes care of when we're doing projects. Like, he knows where stuff is. If I need something, I'm doing a project and he's here, he knows where it is. He just goes and gets it, right? I'm like, wait a second, where's the paint thinner? Is that in the cabinet over there? Or wait a second, where are the extension cords? I think they're hanging, it's so crazy. You don't even realize all the stuff that your partner is taking care of. And I think that's hello, slap in the face reality. So maybe it's just a call to pay attention to the stuff you're not doing, the stuff that the other person is doing. Because if you're not doing this stuff, at least know what the stuff is. And ask questions and have a conversation. Because this isn't about control. It's about love. You don't want to have to learn an entire new system while you're grieving or while you're stressed out about some situation that has happened in your life that has made it so your partner or whoever is not there to take care of what they used to take care of. That's cruel, having to learn a system while you're in the middle of stress or grief or any of that. So have the conversation now. So I will leave you with this. Because I know this is something that some of you are thinking, right? Some of you are thinking, I do everything because if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. Some of you are thinking that, right? And you know what? You may be right. If you don't do it, maybe it doesn't get done. But maybe not everything actually has to get done. And maybe someone else could do it differently than you, and that's not wrong. It's just not your way. And maybe as we're sitting here freaking out about I do everything, and if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. Maybe, just maybe, there are other things getting done around you that you haven't even noticed. Things you don't have to juggle because someone else already is and you haven't even noticed. Sometimes we hold on so tight to what we do, we don't see what other people are doing. Sometimes we hold on so tight to what we do, we don't see how we're maybe pushing people away. Sometimes we don't realize that there are people around us who could help if we would let them. And if we would be okay with them doing it their way. It doesn't have to be our way, right? And sometimes we don't realize how alone we are until something happens. And it's too late to share the weight, to share the work. If you are the person who does everything, ask yourself, are you helping? Is your doing everything actually helping? Or are you holding on so tight to I'm doing everything that you're hurting the people around you and yourself without even realizing it? Because if something happens to you and all those balls that you were juggling, if they all hit the floor, it's not just your burden anymore, it becomes theirs. And you will not be there to explain how you kept all those balls up in the air. And I think that's really important to sit with for a minute. Because the truth is, you cannot be the system and the backup plan. That's what I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for your patience in me getting back to the microphone. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me here today. And I will talk to you again soon. Hope you enjoyed the show today. To continue the conversation, visit our website at afarmishkindoflife.com, find A Farmish Kind of Life on social media, or drop me an email at amy@afarmishkindoflife.com. Peace, love, and bacon, y'all. Stay farmish.